Hi, it's Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we have a book to read for you. Today, book is Adventure Begins from 2015. So let's get started. A long time ago, on the island of Sodon, there was a little railway known as the Northwestern. Sir Topham Hatter was in charge. Many engines worked on the railway. The biggest, Gordon, pulled the express. The smallest, Edward, shunned the trucks and coaches for the biggest a bigger engine. James had wooden brakes blocks that sometimes smoked when he stopped. One day Gordon told the others that a new engine was coming to the railway. The last one we got was too small to be really useful, he said, unkindly. I'm not small, declared James. The new engine name was Thomas. He had six small wheels, a short, stumpy funner, a short, stubby border, and a short, stubby dome. Thomas seemed awfully small. Sir Topham Hatter must had made a mistake if he was expecting someone really useful, Gordon said. I am really useful, cried Thomas. Thomas tried hard to be really useful. At first, he made a lot of mistakes. He huffed and puffed and rushed to and fro. He buffed and bashed into trucks and got in Gordon's way. Oh, that very useful, isn't it? Gordon snorted. Thomas' first day on the railway hadn't gone well, but he felt sure he'd soon get the hang of things. The cheeky little engine spotted Gordon asleep in a siding. He creeped up and blew his whistle. Wake up, lazy bone, Thomas shouted. Why don't you work hard like me? Thomas hurried off, laughing. Gordon was quite cross with Thomas. One rainy day, in the sheds, Thomas met Henry, who looked worried. Henry doesn't like rain, Edward explained. He told Thomas Henry's story. Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain, he rushed into a tunnel and squeaked through his funnel and never came out again. Henry wouldn't budge, continued Edward. He said the rain was for his lovely green paint and red stripes. He refused to move, even after the rain stopped. In the end, Henry had to be pulled out of the tunnel with a rope. That's why he's afraid of rain. One morning, Sir Topham Hatter sent Thomas to the steamworks to be repainted in the color he liked to see on his railway. A man painted Thomas' water tank in dome blue. Another trimmed his window with yellow paint. One used red paint to add stripes. Another man carefully marked out the number 1 on his side. Thomas raced proudly back into the yard. Look, Edward, I'm blue just like you. Edward laughed happily. You're also number 1. That means I'm the best, cried Thomas. The next morning, Thomas had to fetch Gordon express coaches, but he arrived late. Hurry up, you, Gordon scolded impatiently. Hurry up yourself, Thomas retorted. Gordon decided to teach Thomas a lesson. Gordon pulled away very quickly. There was no time to uncouple Thomas from the coaches. Gordon dragged Thomas along behind him and raced around a bend. Stop, stop, cried Thomas. Hurry, 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 Gordon said with a grin, and on he raced it. At last, Gordon pulled into a station. Well, little Thomas, now you know what hard work is like. He called poor Thomas, puffed slowly away to rest. He had a long drink from the water tower. I want to pull my own train, he complained. I want to see the water. One day, Henry couldn't work. Sir Topham Hatter asked Thomas to pull Henry coaches. At the station, Sir Topham Hatter warned Thomas to wait until everything was ready, but Thomas was too excited. He raced off before the coaches were coupled up. Thomas, stop, come back, shouted Sir Topham Hatter. Thomas didn't even hear him. The next day, Edward kindly offered Thomas a chance to take his goods train. He warned Thomas that trucks sometimes play tricks on the engines. Don't be silly, Thomas said, laughing. Be careful, Edward said seriously. Things were going fine until Thomas reached a steep hill. On the way down, the truck sped up. Thomas was going so fast he nearly went off the tracks. At Monroe Station, he stopped inches from the buffer. Why would you going so fast? Asked Sir Topham Hatter. Edward Trucks was pushing me, Thomas explained. Sir Topham Hatter would cross with both engines and made them stay in the yard. Every day, Thomas worked very hard. He wanted to be a really useful engine. One afternoon, he and Edward heard a train barreling towards the yard. Help, James called. The trucks are pushing me. James sped through the yard with smoke and sparks flying from his wheels. Use your brakes, Thomas yelled as he raced after James. Can't, my brakes blocks are on fire, called James. Thomas hurried to catch up with James. He was determined to help his friend. Suddenly, James headed into a tight bend in the tracks and crashed right off the rails into a field. The troublesome trucks tipped over. I'll get help, James, Thomas promised them. Thomas raced back to Knapford Yard, right past Sir Topham Hatter, straight to the breakdown trains. James had the railroad, and so had the trucks. He called to Judy and Jerome. Crew up, shouted Jerome. Let's go, Judy. In no time, Judy and Jerome was ready to lift trains back onto the track. The broke trucks was sad and sorry now. I hope this will teach you a lesson, scolded Thomas. Sir Topham Hatter was pleased with Thomas. He asked him to take James to the steamworks for repairs. The next day, James came back to the yard with new brakes and a splendid new coat of shiny red paint. That night, Sir Topham Hatter paid a surprise visit to the shed. Congratulations, Thomas, he said. Due to your unselfish bravery, you have shown yourself worthy of having your own branch line. Thomas was proud and happy. Now he even had his very own coaches, Andy and Carabelle. Thomas the Tank had become a really useful engine at last. So that was the adventure begin from 2015. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.